Ugh, all right. Fucking action. Turn this shit back on. More about the league. I've seen it kind of already, but I want to know more because I missed a couple parts of it. Q&A with Ziggy D. I don't know who the fuck that is, but whatever. Ziggy D's tight. Does he know Ziggy D's nuts?
Centuries ago, our people traveled to this accursed continent. We return to reclaim our lost relics. But Rayclast grips its secrets tightly. We must wrench them from its grasp.
So the actual league mechanic looks really stupid. The whole digging up burial sites in order to find items thing is like, I don't give a fuck. The gambling shit is cool. Gambling is tight. I like D2 gambling.
Follow the path of our forebears to discover their unknown fate.
Explosive concoction is sick. That's just Frost Orb. Spectral Helix is fucking the shit with the Hammerdin. Well, Toxic Burst is like whatever. They didn't even show the one that I was looking forward to. Okay, they're gonna go over the new skill and support gems later. Alright, cool. That's just the intro trailer. So they go more in depth with the skill and support gems in a second. Those look tight. The actual league mechanic looks dumb.
Alright, I've got a lot to tell you about. Let's start with the Expedition League itself. Long ago, Kalguran explorers came to Rayclast in the hope of colonizing it.
I love how they just make up names for the explorers and shit. All the NPCs in the game. Kalgurans.
Who have set out on an expedition
Sounds
to
good.
investigate the fate of their ancestors and recover special ruined artifacts they left behind. The ancient Kalgurans underestimated the dangers of Rayclast, and this new expedition is no exception. They need your help to protect them from the undead that rise at their expedition sites. As you travel through Rayclast, you'll encounter the Kalgurans at sites they believe their ancestors attempted to settle in the past. By the time you get there, they will have marked the site with signs indicating where chests are buried, holes indicating where their ancestors lie, and will have possibly unearthed some remnants of past Kalguran settlement.
That's always good. It's always good to dig up the graves of dead ancestors.
The effective way to excavate these sites is with explosives. And that's where you come in. You'll place a chain of explosives across the expedition site, carefully planning what each blast is going to unearth. Once you push the plunger, any undead freed by the explosions rise from the ground and the slaughter begins.
I thought there'd be more enemy types. It's just undead.
Some of these fallen Kalgur are more difficult and rewarding than others, and have been...
Oh, they're all Kalgurans that are dead. Okay, that makes sense.
Once you have defeated the army of undead,
Chests.
you're free to open all of the chests you unearthed and
Those
claim
chests look like they don't have shit in them.
It's
You
up
got
to
one
to
rare
select
out of
the
all
ways
those
to use
chests.
explosives to maximize your gains. Do you unearth a lot of monsters? Do you unearth more special monsters? Or do you go for the chests and try to avoid combat? The ancient Kalguran explorers built structures on Rayclast, and you may encounter remnants of these at excavation sites. These remnants have various modifiers on them that, when destroyed, apply to monsters and chests unearthed from that explosion onwards. Remnants greatly increase drops, but have some very difficult modifiers like immune to physical.
So the drops go up when you get
You need to be
remnants.
very
Okay.
careful with your decision of which remnants to chain your explosives through, as they substantially ramp up the difficulty and rewards of
Every time you get a remnant, it goes up with the rest of the remnants that you get. So it's like
Speaking of rewards, there's a
exponential
lot
in
of cool
difficulty.
stuff to find. Alongside
That's cool.
valuable equipment and currency items are Kalguran artifacts and logbooks, which we'll talk about soon. The Kalguran traders have made this expedition to Rayclast in order to recover their ruined artifacts. There are many different types of artifacts, and each of the Kalgurans is interested in a different set of them. with a unique way
So
to
there's
both
4
treat them.
Calgaran NPCs, and there's
For
4
this
different types of
expansion, we
artifacts
really
you can
wanted to
give
play
them.
with the idea of having NPCs that want
4
to
different
interact with you in
currencies.
different ways. So we have themed their behaviors around the concepts of gambling, bartering, upselling, and exchanging. Let's meet
Gamba.
the Kalgurans. Tuyen is a mercurial trader who maintains a positive outlook as long as he can, but if you cross a line, his temper changes quickly. Tuyen offers you items with unreasonably high prices, but he's happy to haggle. You can always buy the item at the price he's offering, but if you offer a lower price, he might accept it, counteroffer, or withdraw the item entirely if he is offended by your lowball. He also occasionally sells currency items, so it's worthwhile keeping some of the artifacts he's looking for on hand just in case you see an opportunity.
So the currency items are probably good.
Grog is an average man pushed into Rayclust's dangers.
But gambling for regular items, like, when am I ever going to get a gamble item that's good?
He is very happy for you to do the fighting so that he can stay safe on the sidelines. He loves making deals and trying to upsell you. If you buy one of the items that Grog offers, he'll try to offer you a more complex deal where he improves the item via crafting. If you accept this deal, he'll try to upsell you again and again until you eventually walk away with your purchase. If you can't afford one of these incremental upgrades, you can leave and come back later with enough
Oh, you're
artifacts
upgrading
to
and
cover the
paying
cost.
more and more. Okay.
Because you don't get to supply your own
That's
starter
cool.
item for this process, and have to select an item with promise from the range that he offers, his incremental crafting upgrades are priced rather cheaply.
At least you know what you're getting. At least you can pick the base
Gwyn
item.
is a cynical gambler
That's pretty
who
good.
claims that luck depends on how hard you believe. So you really need to convince yourself that you're going to get that headhunter. If you don't, it's your fault. Gwenin shows you a set of base types with unknown properties. When you gamble by buying one, you'll receive a random item of that base type back. It could easily be a random magic item that you have no use for, but can sometimes be a valuable rare or unique item. It's probably best to
That's
prioritize
D2
the base
gambling.
types that are most relevant to your character. Once you have exhausted all the items that interest you, it's possible to
That's
use
just
a
straight up
specific
D2
currency
gambling.
item to re-roll the gamble window to a set of new items of your current level.
That's sick.
Sometimes a base type shows up that is a lot more expensive than it would otherwise be, and gambling on this item has a higher expected value than normal. You're taking the risk, though, that it could still be junk. Danig, Warrior Skald, is the heart of the expedition, its brave leader and lawmaster. Danig is interested in specific types of ruined artifacts and wants to trade these from you for a variety of options, such as currency that lets you reroll vendor inventories, logbooks, or artifacts that other Kalguran traders are looking for. You can talk to the traders in the wild, in town, or in your hideout. They grant you access to your expedition locker.
Oh, you can put them
which
in
is
your
like a
hideout. That's
heist
cool.
locker, a lockbox for League-specific items, which can be accessed in all 3 places also. We're adding the affinity system to these lockers. Among the many relics of the ancient Kalgurans you might find at their expedition sites are logbooks. These ancient books chronicle the locations that their ancestors visited in their exploration of Rayclust.
So they're different grave
A
sites.
logbook item can be
Basically.
rolled to have a set of explicit mods, like an endgame map.
Oh
Each
shit,
location
maps.
within the logbook has its own implicit mods, as well as a theme that controls what types of remnants can be found there.
Oh, so you can make the grave sites
Talk to
super
Danig in
hard.
your hideout and give him a logbook you have found to go on an expedition to one of the locations it describes.
That's
These
sick.
are all exotic places that no exiles have ever traveled to before. Just like how a blighted map was one giant blight encounter with no natural monsters, the expedition you go on from a logbook is one giant expedition. Expeditions from logbooks are not only different because of their large size, but because there are special objects that you can interact with using explosives.
Oh,
For example, trees that contain monsters or items, passageways
Oh.
that reveal chests or bosses, and so on.
secrets. Damn.
Speaking of
lot of
bosses, there are some
currency from
formidable
those chests,
bosses you
too.
Seek out, and a set of valuable new unique items and base types that can only come from expedition content. The Kalguran people are not from Rayclust, so the items do not have the same defensive properties that ours do.
Wait, what?
Instead of armor, evasion, and energy shield, they have ward.
What? There's a new defense
Base
type?
is a pair of boots that grants ward and can get mods that improve it. The way that ward works is that you have a certain amount of it, and that amount is fully deducted from the first incoming hit that you receive.
Whoa, whoa,
Ward is
whoa.
then disabled and takes 5 seconds to re-enable. At that point, the next hit you receive is substantially mitigated in the same way. It's quite a different style of defensive property and works very well in conjunction with systems like evasion, block, or dodge.
Damn.
As the undead enemies you unearth in expedition encounters are
So you can get a
fallen
ward
explorers,
that's like
they also
50%,
have
take
ward rather
50%
than
reduced
defensive
damage from a
bonuses.
hit, and then 5 seconds later get it to trigger again. And in the meantime, you could just have arm.
as a defensive option for your character.
Yeah.
Causes all increases to energy shield to affect your ward instead, grants you a bunch of ward and helps it recover faster.
Oh shit.
This other unique helmet is also on a new base type that grants ward instead of other defense types, but its properties don't interact with ward. Instead, it prevents you from dealing critical strikes and grants you Battle Mage.
What the fuck is Battle Mage?
Damage equal to the damage of your main hand weapon.
Spell damage equal to the damage of your
The
main
new base
hand?
types and uniques I showed you here are just some of the ones you'll be able to discover when you play next week.
So you have a main hand and then your
So
spell
that's
damage is just added directly.
Each of the developers I've spoken to has liked a different
Like an
aspect,
elemental weapon in
but
Dark
I've
Souls.
really personally been
Okay.
enjoying the different trade mechanics offered by the Kalguran NPCs. The
It's
gamble
100%
takes me back
physical
20 years on a
to
nostalgia
magic
trip.
in addition to
Really
your
tackling
physical.
manages to capture
Which,
the
that's pretty
intensity I
good.
get when negotiating.
Depending. I don't know.
Anyone who really knows me knows how much I love negotiating. This
I don't know you.
expansion also promises to massively shake up the Path of Exile metagame.
This is the good
Doing
part.
that by
Skill and
introducing
support gems. This is the good shit.
Lots of new gems. For quite a while now, the way we have approached new skills in Path of Exile expansions is to make a bunch of gems themed around an entirely new build or dramatically augmenting a few existing builds. The blood skills in the Ultimatum expansion are a good example of this. While this approach is great in terms of creating interesting new builds, it doesn't always affect every character game-wide. In order to achieve this big metagame shakeup, we've come up with a crazy idea for the Expedition expansion, adding a gigantic pile of new gems at once, spread among as many different playstyles as possible. Each of these gems can of course be used by many different classes, but we use the list of 19 Ascendancy classes for inspiration when planning these gems.
Ascendancies, that's what they're called.
Regardless of which build you're playing, there will be new gems that you can add to your
Subclasses for your
character. Let's go
class,
through the
like
19
Destiny.
skill and support gems.
Ascendancies are sick.
The
I like
Earthbreaker
that they
support
added
gem
those.
can be linked to any slam skill. Upon use, it summons an ancestor totem that uses that slam on your behalf. In this example,
This is sick. I saw this in the trailer and it looked tight. Your totems can do spells.
As you can see, this build covers a large area in fiery death, while you get to stay out of harm's way.
Leap slam totem.
For chieftains in particular, due to the various totem bonuses available on their Ascendancy passive tree. Adept players will also be wondering if the Earthbreaker support allows you to create leap slamming totems.
Leap slam totem.
Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
As with other ancestor totems, the Earthbreaker support also provides a buff to you, granting some increased area of effect with melee skills. Rage Vortex provides a new way to consume your rage.
I thought this was cool.
Whirling vortex that rapidly hits
Rage
enemies
Vortex?
within range.
It's like
gives the
Whirlwind,
rage
except you
area
send it
effect
forward.
based on how much rage was sacrificed. The vortex slows down when enemies survive.
If you can make your totems do that move, oh shit, dude.
While you can only have one rage vortex active at a
Oh, you can
time,
only have one
characters
active
such
at a
as
time,
this
so maybe you
who
can't.
generate a lot of rage quickly will find it a
But
great
look
way
at that. That's way cooler than watching someone play Cyclone. Cyclone is boring.
Bone Shatter strikes your enemies with a forceful blow. If an enemy is stunned by this attack, a powerful shockwave is released. The area of effect of the shockwave is determined by the duration of the stun.
You can stun groups of enemies.
Each time
That's
you
pretty
use
good.
Bone Shatter against an enemy, you
Multi-strike.
take physical damage yourself and gain a trauma stack. The more stacks you have, the more damage Bone Shatter
Ooh.
will deal to both you and your enemies.
It does damage to
Stealth damage
you.
mechanic makes the Juggernaut the ideal class for this skill.
Yeah, you could Juggernaut though.
Access to lots of armor to mitigate the downside. Also, the Juggernaut has Ascendancy passives that grant increased
I'm
stun
playing
damage,
Juggernaut
which help
this
make sure the
league,
shockwave is as large as
for
possible.
sure. I don't know what I'm gonna do for my main attack
Defiance
though.
Banner is a new purely defensive banner skill. While you carry the Defiance Banner, it increases the armor and evasion of nearby allies while reducing the critical strike chance of nearby enemies. It also
Damn.
stages while carried near enemies and can be placed on the ground to enhance its effects.
Damn.
Defiance Banner is
I might
placed,
use
it
that.
inflicts a taunt on enemies for a duration based on the number of stages the banner had accumulated while it was carried.
You can taunt the enemies to the banner too.
Also deal less damage to all targets.
Oh, they don't taunt to the banner, they taunt to you.
The next new skill is Shield Crush.
Eh.
Which swipes your shield towards enemies and sends
Shield
out
Crush is what I was gonna
damage.
use. This is the move that made me want to play this league.
These waves can shot
Shield Crush looks
groups with up to
sick.
2 hits at once.
Shotgun
While
Shield?
Crush is great against groups. It's also effective against single targets and can
Look
be
at that
used
shit.
alongside shield
That's
charges
tight.
and shield throw.
If you hit them with the overlap, it does more
So that the
damage.
overall aggressive shield build is more powerful.
Dude, hold on. Go back. If you
It's
hit
also
them
effective
with
against
the part of the shield crush that overlaps with the other part, like there's a center thing and then there's two on the side, it does fucking Venn diagram bonus damage.
targets and can be used alongside shield charge and spectral shield.
See if I can get him to do it again.
We've improved both of these skills so that the overall aggressive
There we go. You can kind of see it's like one big shockwave in the front, and then there's 2 on the side, and if you hit them in between, it does double
Your
damage.
build is more powerful.
If you could get attack speed with that move, like cast
The
speed,
new Behead support
you could really
can
fuck
only
people up
support
with that.
strike skills and is basically like a mini headhunter. When a supported strike
Behead
kills a
support's
rare
pretty
enemy,
cool.
You'll steal one of its modifiers.
Now this is a
Obviously,
strike
this gem
attack
won't be as crazy
skill,
as the full headhunter experience, so it comes with some
so only
struggles.
strike gems can be
Install
supported by the
modifiers
behead
for 20
support.
seconds.
I was thinking about
Select
doing
your
that with
replace the modifier you have active.
Shield Crush, but I don't think Shield Crush is a strike technically. I think it's just a melee attack.
In conjunction with the Slayer's Bane of
It has to be a different
really
strike
embraces
spell.
the execution theme.
That's why I'm thinking of using behead support with a strike spell as my main
Storm Ring is a
attack,
new bow skill that fires arrows
and then
with
using
speed.
Shield Crush as my
These
secondary.
arrows periodically
AoE.
pulse with lightning damage that arcs to nearby arrows. The skill works very well.
Storm
with
Rain is
multiple
cool.
projectiles because
That's
you can
cool.
Quickly set up a large patch of lightning death. Existing ballista skills in Path of Exile pick their own targets, like sentry guns do. They'll start shooting immediately and will generally target the closest enemies. While this behavior is usually great, sometimes you want fine control over what your ballistas will fire at. The focused ballista support
The focused ballista thing, I don't know. I don't think that's very
and
good.
they will only fire when you fire your own ranged weapon.
I'm sure that's
It
great
also
for people
makes
who
the
use
ballistas fire a
ballistas,
lot
but like,
faster than they otherwise would.
it doesn't seem that OP.
The support gem allows you to effectively focus fire on specific enemies.
It's a boss killer for sure. You could probably make a boss killer character that
Explosive
only does
concoction
that.
is quite a novel skill. It introduces
But you can't do
several
maps very
concepts that
fast
haven't
with
been
ballistas, I don't
explored with
think.
skills before. Here you can see the Pathfinder throwing an explosive projectile at monsters. Firstly, you may notice that the Pathfinder isn't holding any weapons. This is because Explosive Concoction is the very first ranged skill that can and must be used unarmed. It's also the first skill that directly interacts with the benefits provided by your flasks.
Whoa, what?
When you throw your Explosive Concoction onto a targeted area, it deals fire damage and uses available charges from your Ruby, Sapphire, and Topaz flasks.
Damn.
Bonuses based on what flask
You can
charges
throw
used.
fucking flasks at
Skill still
people?
works even if you don't have the appropriate flask
Mad
to
Bomber
use.
class?
But correctly managing your flask setup can greatly enhance the power of this skill.
You can throw flasks
What
at
we really
people.
love about this gem is that it brings to life the idea of throwing your flasks at enemies and having
Motherfucker.
In conjunction
That's
with
sick.
the flask-focused benefits provided by the Pathfinder's Ascendancy passive skills, we're really excited to see what new playstyles are enabled by this gem.
That's fucked up.
This is the Ambush skill. It teleports you up to an enemy, blinds them, and exerts your next
Damn,
one-hit
teleport
melee attack.
blind?
This
That's
exerted
cheap.
attack
Flicker
has high
strike?
critical strike chance and multiplier. In addition to
It's like Flicker
stopping your
strike.
assassinations, you can also use ambush to quickly
Except it blinds
re-engage
them.
targets after dashing away. Voltaxic burst
That makes it really hard for you to get hit
triggering a burst
by
of
a
lightning
boss
damage around
if you're
the
blinding it
portion of that
constantly.
damage converted to chaos damage. Enemies
This
stunned
is
by a
cool.
Voltaxic burst will also explode, dealing chaos damage around them based on their maximum life. You can stack up many.
That reminds me of For Honor, dude. The Lawbringer doing taunts all the time and fucking jamming in place.
So that you can cast a skill from
Look at how many charges he has. Holy shit.
before it explodes.
He has like 50 endurance charges.
When you use Blade Trap, you throw out a mechanical device with 2 copies of your weapon attached. These
That's
weapons spin
cool.
rapidly in a circle a set
2
number
copies of
times,
your weapon?
dealing damage to anything they pass through. When dual wielding, the trap rotates faster but deals damage based on both weapons. Because it's a trap, Blade Trap behaves a little differently to other attack skills by operating independently of your attack speed.
Oh, you could use a two-handed.
Optimization choices to make and focusing more on damage.
You could use Blade Trap with a two-handed weapon and do a ton fucking damage.
Summon Reaper creates a single
This is
powerful
sick.
minion that uses fast melee physical attacks which cause bleeding. While the Reaper is active, you can use the skill again to direct the Reaper to a specific location, dealing a powerful attack along its path. The Reaper wants to be your only minion. It reduces the life and damage of your other minions, and will consume them to heal itself and gain damage and speed buffs.
Damn, it's like a
Designing this
super
new skill
minion?
for the Necromancer, we wanted to explore the idea of having a single ultimate minion. While there were ways to somewhat achieve this before, the Reaper is quite different in its abilities and interactions with
That
other
thing
minions.
fucks.
It also feels much more active and directly under your control. One quick note though, the Reaper will absolutely eat your animated guardian if you're not careful.
Oh. Damn.
Forbidden Rite is a powerful new spell that fires an exploding chaos projectile at a targeted area. It also targets a selection of enemies in an area around the player's location and fires projectiles at them too. But be careful, Forbidden Rite also inflicts damage on you when cast.
He killed himself.
If you find a clever way to mitigate this harmful downside, you'll have devastating
Damn.
widespread damage at your fingertips.
You got to be really careful with your life pool,
The
though.
Eye of Winter is a large projectile that fires out a barrage of cold
There we
projectiles in
go.
spiral formation
Frost
as it
orb.
travels. When it reaches its maximum distance
D2 League.
with the terrain, it explodes, firing out even more projectiles.
Frost orb. Dude.
This type of skill is one
I want to
we've been
make
wanting to bring to
a Frost
Firebase
orb
for a long
sorceress
time. We
in
felt it was
PoE just
a
because
skill
that's in the game
perfect
now. That's
place to
cool.
showcase it.
I could do that after my league
This
starter,
impresses
maybe.
players using the new Battle Mage's Cry skill, which taunts nearby enemies and exerts your subsequent attacks, causing them to trigger a linked spell on your next melee hit. Here you can see the player
So you
taunting
taunt enemies.
Battle Mage's Cry and using Consecrated Path to teleport to enemies. The slam is exerted, triggering Firestorm to rain down.
Firestorm. Okay, that's what he's doing.
In order to assist with scaling both attack and spell
Look
damage,
at that.
the buff this
That's
warfare
sick.
provides lets your spell damage apply to your attacks. This property is usually only available on wands and certain unique items.
Boom. He's just blowing up
Mana
everything.
Bond is a somewhat unusual gem in that its source of power relies on your current mana. Upon use, it creates a rune that explodes at a location you're targeting. This explosion can either deal more damage or cover a larger area depending on the state of your mana. The more mana that's missing from your mana pool, the more damage Mana Bond will deal, as it converts a percentage of your missing mana into added lightning damage. The more full your mana pool is, the more area the explosion will cover. This means that being adept at managing your mana pool becomes highly advantageous.
Wait.
For example,
If you lock your mana pool by, like,
clearing a map provides greater
having reserve mana up to a certain point, can you permanently make it low mana? And make it tiny? And make it do a ton of damage?
Designed for Guardians as a spell version of Dominating Blow.
Yeah, that's what he did right here. He has a lot of reserve mana.
In a targeted area. When it kills an enemy, it summons a Sentinel of Absolution.
But he doesn't have
deals
mana
damage by
bond here.
casting Absolution itself. The Sentinels also periodically cast a larger version of Absolution on the cooldown.
I wanted to make an Absolution character.
Absolution can't summon even
Look at that.
they are a
That's
powerful
cool.
army to fight against.
That seems broken too. That seems OP.
Spectral Helix throws a spectral copy of your melee weapon, which
Hey, Blessed Hammer.
dealing damage to any enemies it passes through.
Blessed Hammer,
The
baby.
design of the skill achieves what we always wanted Val's
Paladin.
Throw to be. We thought it was a really fun idea for a skill.
Hell yeah. Look at that. Oh, it bounces off the walls and changes direction.
Possible to use Val's Spectral Throw as a primary.
Holy shit.
Now that Spectral Helix can live up to this purpose, we've reworked Val's Spectral Throw, which we'll reveal closer to release.
Dude.
One of the other issues that Val's Spectral Throw had was that it didn't work very well in indoors areas. However, Spectral Helix improves
That shit
as the
fucks.
projectiles that spiral outwards can also bounce off of walls and
Bounces
proceed
off
to
the
enemies,
walls.
rather than simply disappearing upon collision.
That shit fucks. Man.
Over the last few years, Path of
Those
Exile
skill
has
gems
really
look good.
suffered from player power creep. As a consequence of trying to make compelling content, each expansion we release either gives players more axes on which to improve their character, more effective skills to use, or ways to craft better and more powerful items. Measuring from closed beta to now, this Expedition expansion is our 30th Path of Exile release. The amount of power creep varies per release, of course, with systems like Ascendancy classes providing, like 20, 30, 40% power creep at once? Like with Compound Interest, it would only take 8% more player power per expansion from new items, crafting, character systems, item acquisition opportunities, and new skills for player
How do
power
they
to grow
even
tenfold.
calculate any of this graph?
And tenfold is roughly what we measure the increase in player power to be.
In what?
We may nerf
In
the most out-of-date
fucking
cases,
shifters?
but we're only reducing them back down to close to the new baseline.
What are you measuring
The
in?
average Path of Exile character gets more and more powerful. While we do occasionally add new endgame challenges that are appropriate for the current power level of top characters, the rest of the game just becomes relatively easier.
You see what I'm saying, bro?
Some
You
games
see what I'm saying? These fucking skill gems look sick.
damage to counteract player power.
Doesn't this shit look cool?
The numbers get too large.
And we have months before Diablo comes out, so I might as well waste my time figuring this game out and then play that.
Turning a knob as they hand you new power, keeping you in the same place forever.
This is the cool part of the video, though. We haven't even gotten to the good part. This is the cool part. He starts talking about how they're going to nerf everything.
Players will always pick the most powerful way of interacting with any game system. Even if
Yeah,
it's not
people always
actually
pick the most
fun.
broken shit, and it makes it not fun for everybody else.
Piano, or the way that everyone just picks support gems that basically add pure damage.
Right.
As game designers, it is our responsibility to make sure that the most powerful behaviors are also the most fun to engage with.
So they nerf Blast Piano, because
The
fuck that
balance changes
shit.
that we are making in Expedition are far-reaching and are going to affect almost all characters. Our goal is not to just nerf specific builds, but to improve the game, its challenge, and to make sure that people want to pick fun build choices. Anyone who played Path of Exile during its closed beta 9 years ago can attest to how challenging the campaign was to play through.
Yeah, there's no games out too.
Dangerous and terrifying,
That's the other thing. There's nothing to play.
in a few seconds of inattention.
So I might as well play this.
Going into the shipgrade,
There's like 3.5 days left before the league
they were
starts.
careful around rowers because a couple of unlucky charges could outright kill them. Trying to kill a goat
This looks so tight.
Molten shell up was a pretty terrible idea. Nowadays, however, the game is a lot easier. We added level 2 and 4 support gems without increasing the difficulty of the game to compensate at all. Modern mechanics shower the player in rare
I'm down to play.
levels.
Look at that. I want that ability. That ability fucks. That's so cool. Shield shotgun is tight. That shit is based off your shield's armor rating. So if you make your shield have a ton of armor, like you get the surrender, that's a really good Path of Exile unique. I mean, I don't know if it's good or not. I don't fucking, relative to whatever. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. But this fucking shit right here, I was looking it up the other day at work because fuck them. I don't want to play PoE. But this shit starts with 1500 armor. And then every time you block, you get another 1500 armor. So that's 3k. And then 3k divided by 15, it does like 200 damage times 5. Ends up doing like 1,000 damage per one of those shield attack things. And you get Reckoning off of it too. Fucking Reckoning lets you do a counterattack that does a ton of damage. Level 30 Reckoning. So every time you block, you get armor. Every time you block, you do damage. And every time you block, you get more damage for your main ability, which is this shit, Shield Crush. That shit would be broken.
For a few years now, we've been shipping difficult leagues where
Then you just do this all day. And block all day. And have a million armor all day. And never die, dude. I want to make that character.
Players enjoy League content because it's
That shit looks tight.
They also told us they really enjoyed the Path of Exile 2 demo at ExileCon, and it was tuned to be almost punitive in terms of difficulty. One thing
Can you play Iron Man co-op?
was that it's okay for some monsters to be able to run 20
I don't know.
40% faster than the player. In Path of Exile 1's first,
I don't know if I would start with Iron Man, but you probably can.
Default movement speed.
That would be fun.
The campaign to be challenging.
That would be fun.
So far, we have focused mostly on
Real talk, Iron Man co-op would be fun. Can you do that? Hold on. Oh, play it with no trading? That's easy. Yeah, you can do that. That's solo self-found. SSF co-op. PoE. We could play SSF. Solo self-found is just like you can't trade, you can't just get items off the marketplace. You can't just like find items in other people's inventories type shit. Blah blah blah. I was wondering if there's a good way to make co-op SSF adventure. Do you have any ideas or rules? Oh, I guess you could do like honor based, where you don't buy any items outside of like the two of you, and you just like trade items between one another, but you play in the regular league. You don't go to solo self-found league, because I think solo self-found does make it single player only. You can't like play online either. You can't trade, you can't play online, and you can't like trade items or buy items. But we could just like trade between us instead of like buying all of our shit off the auction house. I was thinking about doing SSF anyway, but it makes it very hard. SSF is not easy. I was thinking you meant Iron Man, like fucking Iron Man is hardcore. That would be fun if we played hardcore. Like start a session of Path at the same level as level 1 characters and try to get through as much of the content as we can without dying. Oh man, and then you start all the way over. It would be like a once every stream type thing. You'd start the stream and be like, we're fucking making new Iron Man characters. We're going to get as far as we can in one day and then die and then start over. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah, there's certain enemies that'll just straight up spuck you, but that's not the point. It would be like, remember when, what was that? It was like Danny and Aaron, I think, and a bunch of people from all these different YouTube channels were just playing Diablo 2 in hardcore, and they would just like do a couple episodes, die, and then start over. That could be fun. That could be a fun thing for Path. But yeah,
coming expansion will be extending this further.
I remember watching those videos. That was funny.
Reviewed or touched every single monster in the game. While this additional challenge probably won't stop our most skilled players easily dominating the campaign or running through it to get to maps quickly, It will mean that players who engage with the content will find a consistent difficulty level between League content and regular content. It's worth noting that the behavioral and balance changes to monsters will definitely affect their map versions.
Yeah, it was JonTron, yeah. It was them. That was funny. They had two teams and they were fighting to see like which team was the fastest and shit. And they got fucked up. That was sick. That was a good idea. That was a good idea that they didn't take to the logical conclusion, which is Path of Exile.
Behavior was to spam the 1 to 5 keys repeatedly to keep all the flasks constantly up without any downsides. This flask piano playstyle was popular enough that players were improvising devices to hit all of those keys at once.
Look at that shit. That's so dumb. Man, fuck flask piano. And I'm pretty sure they show Asmon doing that shit too. Look at that. Oh. Oh, come on, bro. Come on, bro. He doesn't even play this game. This dude plays World of Warcraft. I had a great time today on Twitter. This dude, fucking A.
Spamming the same set of keys repeatedly to get a powerful set of buffs that rival the power you get from your entire set of equipped items is not a fun game mechanic. It's unbalanced and
when they died, they left the call? Wow.
It prevents us from balancing the game well for players who aren't smashing their keyboard.
That's the real shit.
And seriously restricts the design space we can use on flasks. In addition, certain unique flasks completely outclass other ones in terms of raw damage output.
That is so boring. Am I crazy? Is this not boring? This is just Beyblade. I hate Cyclone builds in PoE. In Diablo, it's cool because you can kind of see how bad you're fucking up the enemy. And you can't make your Cyclone area of effect massive like the size of the screen like you can in PoE. In PoE, it's just like based on what your skilled elemental damage is, you can make it different colors and you can make it big. So it's the size of the fucking screen and just spin around and kill everything and get free currency. That's stupid.
Serious work on flasks to make sure that their incentives were aligned with fun.
This shit is just Beyblade.
Spamming blindly. Most utility flasks and unique flasks have been rebalanced. Expect a lot less permanent power from flasks. Flasks that provide raw defense or raw power are the ones with the biggest nerfs. Some flasks have been selectively buffed a bit if they were underpowered or less popular. In the Expedition expansion, there are now 3 ways that you can use flasks. You can either continue to use the rebalanced ones the traditional way, or you can apply one of the 2 new types of currency items to your flask.
This is the thing that made me want to play.
Instilling Orb and Enkindling Orb drop as part of the regular drop pool from regular monsters and chests. The Instilling Orb will cause a flask to be used automatically upon a specific condition.
That's the shit.
For example,
I don't want to fucking press any
or
buttons.
when you become affected by Ignite. This means
So if you get a
that previously
affliction,
used
it'll
flasks
automatically remove the affliction or the debuff. It'll do it by itself, so you don't have to pay attention to when you're afflicted.
There are a variety of different conditions.
If you get bleed, it'll just take bleed off.
Overwriting the others each time you use an Instilling Orb on it. The Enkindling Orb prevents utility flasks from gaining charges while active, but provides a big boost to their effect, duration, or various ways they interact with their charges. There are various different types of boosts, so you can use more orbs to reroll for the one that you want. When a flask removes a curse, it no longer applies a period of immunity to curses.
So curses are going to be a son of a bitch.
They'll only provide a period of immunity to that ailment if they actually removed it.
Oh,
So if you
okay.
get ignited, use a dowsing flask to remove the ignite and to gain immunity for a while.
Oh, so you get fire
Flasks
resistance for a
before
while.
you're ignited to be permanently immune. If you want permanent mitigation of ailments, there are other options for your build.
That's cool.
Note that we have rebalanced ailment mitigation in general, so there aren't a few options.
If you set it up to be automatic, you get that duration every time.
Monster density in Path of Exile gets a lot higher as you play through the game. When we initially balanced flash charge generation...
Look at that. That's so
We
cool.
did not anticipate the levels of monster density we would reach by 2021. Monsters in Acts 6 through 10 now generate fewer flash charges, and monsters and maps generate even fewer still. So now there's a lot more strategy involved with flask use. Flasks don't gain as many charges, so are a little harder to constantly spam, and aren't designed to provide such a powerful slew of permanent buffs.
Yeah, the Hateforge build looks
Which
tight.
provide larger than normal effects, and which are triggered automatically as part of your build. We have reworked existing
That
flasks
spinning
such as
fucking
the Black
cyclone
and
shit
Red
where you
flasks,
chuck
and
the
have
cyclone at
introduced new
people?
Corundum
That's
and
sick.
Gold flasks. For a while now, we have been concerned with a power gap between support gems. There are gems that grant huge multiplicative damage bonuses, and there are gems that do a bunch of stuff you don't really care about. When you're building a character, by far
You
the
just said
correct
it, bro.
choice is to stack
You just said that
the
shit.
damage bonuses and ignore all the interesting
There's a
utilities.
bunch of support gems that just
There are
suck dick and no one
gems that are
cares.
just too high. reducing the damage bonuses on the support gems that are clearly just about huge damage boosts, and trying to give them impactful and appropriate downsides. For example, the Controlled Destruction support gem now penalizes critical strikes multiplicatively. Overall, this works out to a total of somewhere around 20%, potentially as high as 40% damage reduction for a character using a fully 6-link skill with entirely damaged support
Shockwave
gems.
does a lot.
There's much less impact for characters that use utility support gems or those who didn't have a 6-link setup. This achieves two goals for us. Firstly, the gap between good and bad support gems has been narrowed, creating more
I want to know what that
interesting
aura
options.
is that he's using.
Player damage output in the endgame
You can tell by what it
is
looks
as
like, but
awful as
I'm not
balance
familiar with
As I
the
mentioned, we want to
auras yet,
iteratively
the
restore
buffs yet.
challenge to Path of Exile. It's worth clarifying that we haven't buffed.
I know I'm using vulnerability aura on my character build though, for sure.
It's fully
That shit's
intentional,
cheap.
it's a reduction of power for the most
It's
damage
typically a
boost.
curse, like a AoE curse that you put on the ground, but if you use the aura support gem, it'll turn it into an aura, and you can just have it like automatically apply to enemies nearby. That's so sick. The fact that you can turn any curse into an aura is fucking
Unfortunately,
sick.
this entire mechanism is currently bypassed by triggering skills as this skips their mana cost.
Yeah, auras in D2 are gonna be
Find
sick.
really powerful spells. In 3.15, triggering skills through support gems will require paying their mana cost.
That's
In
cool
fact,
too.
Sometimes it now costs more than casting the gem by hand.
It used to be that you
This
could
isn't
like
very
surpass
hard
their
for most
cost.
characters. Certain support gems that were originally disabled from supporting triggered skills, like Arcane Surge, can now be used to support them.
But you have to pay the
These
mana
skills
cost.
are some of the most interesting characters in Path of Exile, and they are often the best representation of the craziness that our character customization system allows. We're confident that they are just as powerful as before, but we now have more interesting design space to explore with future skills.
Now they're just not like spamming fucking triggered spells
Now let's
over
talk
and over
about
again.
movement skills. As you know, most interaction with
They
monsters
basically made
is
like
usually
characters that
bypassed
were
by
like
using
manaless
extremely
dredge,
efficient movement skill.
where you just don't need a mana pool and you just trigger the biggest cost spells for no fucking cost in the previous leagues. That was dumb. I don't like that shit.
These skills have been rebalanced to be more in line with other movement skills. These are not huge numeric nerfs, but do mean that there is scope for improving the performance of the skills
looks
by
cool.
specializing around them.
Is that
There are
cleave?
many other balance changes
I think he's
in
using
3.15,
cleave.
which you can read about in the Balance Manifesto and patch notes next week. To be honest, there are a lot of nerfs here. We completely understand that this level of change will make some people nervous, but it's time we start actively combating power creep and fixing game systems that haven't been working the way we intended them to.
I'm so happy with this league.
Expedition is going to be fascinating. The reduction of overall player power, combined with all of the opportunities from the new skills and flask system changes, should create entirely new sets of builds that we haven't previously seen.
And people are going to use varied builds. They're going to be doing different shit than one another instead of everybody just picking Cyclone.
So back in early 2018, there was a trend where every online game was releasing a Battle Royale mode and getting a lot of good press.
Boo! What is
We
this?
had a running joke in the office that our fast development speed meant that we could probably add a
Battle Royale?
to Path of Exile in 1 day of development. As April Fool's Day approached, we
100 exiles drop onto an island.
together and asked them to spend no more than 1 week.
Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me.
On April 1st, 2018, we launched Path of Exile Royale.
This looks so dumb.
Yeah, buddy.
But it's
Quick
PvP.
and dirty job, so we only left the game mode turned on for a couple of days. It went pretty well considering it had no custom balance whatsoever.
Oh my god, I'm getting destroyed.
That's kind of funny.
After April 1st, we turned the mode off and forgot all about it. But the community did not forget. In fact, they've been quite keen to remember it constantly and to urge us to bring it back. But that wouldn't be easy, as to actually make it a decent experience would require a lot of custom balance, playtesting, and feature implementation work. A few months ago, we decided to do exactly that. Path of Exile Royale will return today. In fact, immediately after the QA section.
Oh
of the live
god, it's up right
We're
now.
going to run it for the weekend as a test, and then turn it on every weekend for a while, starting the week after Expedition's launch.
Oh god.
Between weekends with balance tweaks, and if it's popular over the long term, new features. We have no idea what the long term
PvP. This looks so dumb. This looks kind of fun.
Our initial version of Royale from 2018 used Path of Exile's default passive skill tree, which didn't have interesting options.
So you just like open boxes and try to get the right skill gems for your build and then build your character faster than everyone else?
Where many of the interesting ones were
That's
way
funny.
too high level for these super low level characters to ever find. We've made a completely new Royale-specific passive skill tree that is
Whoa.
to quickly adapt your character for high-speed PvP combat.
Wow.
It features approximately 90 new custom notable passives, a special new left-aligned window so you can stay aware of your surroundings while allocating skills, and you gain 2 passive
They put too
skills
much
per
time and effort into
You're
this
also
stupid
able to
game
allocate passive
mode.
skills from any of the tree's starting locations, regardless of which character class you picked.
So every character, regardless of their model, starts in the middle. So that's kind of like what we were talking about the other day.
50 iconic skill gems, 20 support gems, and over 70 unique items. These Royalified items are appropriate for low-level play and include quite a few things that are usually only available at substantially higher character levels in the core game.
That's kind of cool.
The whole island has been improved. We've made the terrain more varied and interesting so that the fights feel different depending on where they take place. You'll encounter flask troves, which provide charges for your flasks.
Oh,
These
shit.
troves periodically replenish themselves, so expect a lot of combat to occur around them. There are many other small
You fight
things
over
you can
the
play with, such
buff
as an improved spectator
totem
mode,
things.
improved leaderboard, and ability to pillage items from players through a special interface.
Oh, you can
rather
take their
than
loot.
having to
You can take their shit. Hey, what'd you
You
have?
need to delete and remake your character for each game, as you could just reuse your old one, which is automatically reset to level 1.
That's cool.
Your prize for coming first on a Royale event is this new Roa Dinner hideout decoration. It's a bit like a challenge league,
Chicken dinner.
but it grows more impressive as you win more events.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Royale is available to play today, as soon as our Q&A session concludes in about 45 minutes.
Man, if you're good at PvP, this is like for
When you go
you.
to the Q&A, log in, and click to join the Royale event at the bottom right of the screen. For more detailed information on how the mode works, check out
That
the
Leap
links
Slam
we just
sucks in
linked on
PvP.
pathofexile.com.
That dude missed
Running
4
the event
times.
today over the weekend. If you don't
Leap
get a chance
Slam's
to play
fucking
Royale over the next few
trash.
days, we'll run it again every weekend other than Expedition's launch
Upgrading
weekend in the
dinner.
next few months. Please check it out and let us know.
Cyclone, it's not very good in PvP.
Keep an eye on our news over the next week as we reveal the finer details of what's coming in Expedition, including the full patch notes on Tuesday, US time.
Expedition
We'll move on to
supporter
the Q&A
packs?
shortly to answer your burning
You can pay,
questions, but first,
like, pay real money?
supporter packs that are available right now to celebrate the launch of Expedition and help fund ongoing development of Path of Exile 2, and special modes like Royale. The Soulkeeper and ACS
Whoa, Anubis?
points to spend in the store. Social frames, forum titles.
Look at the cat. Oh, fuck you. Go back. Oh, look at the cat. Oh, fuck that other shit. I don't care about the armor. Suck my dick. Look at the cat.
Of points to spend in the store.
Hell yeah.
Social frames, forum titles, and badges.
Cat.
And of course,
Those wings are sick.
microtransactions like armor
Those
sets
wings
and
are tight.
skins. The Soulkeeper series comes with an exclusive
Oh, look at the cat.
series, an exclusive set of wings.
Oh, look at the cat.
On top of the traditional small and medium-sized supporter packs that are consistent with ones we've released in the past, we're also adding an optional new third tier for each series. This new
Damn.
tier includes an exclusive apparition portal effect and a slightly better ratio of points per dollar spent. The introduction of these new packs should give you more options for the
Damn.
combination of each pack series you purchase. Like always, it's possible to upgrade between
I like
pack
that.
tiers within each series. Thank you so much for your support.
Who the fuck is Ziggy D?
Supporter packs are the only thing that fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile, as well as expansions like Expedition and Path of Exile Royale. The reveals we showed you today are already live on
I'm
YouTube.
saying.
Link to your friends in case they missed the live stream. Please do so. We'd love to have as many of you as possible joining our expedition next week. It's time for the Q&A. If you have any questions from what we've shown you today, please get them ready because I'm about to be joined by Ziggy D as we answer your questions from Twitch chat. And after that, see you in Royale.
ATP Dance is a Twitch emote, but it's not moving. Does he have animated emotes that are still on purpose just to piss people off? It's not moving. Maybe it's just my chat that's fucked up. That's cool.
Good morning from Australia and New Zealand, Exile.
Shut the fuck up, Ziggy D. I don't care. Point is, that shit looks tight. Yeah, my chat just must be fucked up or something. It's just not moving. It could be that I didn't enable animated emotes yet, but whatever. Point is, that shit looks sick. I want to play that league. And I'm making that shield fucking shotgun character. Because my shield is the base for my damage. But yeah. Now. Boom. Yeah. Archer, nice. Archer would be good. But I don't know. It's gonna be a couple days, cause let me check this shit. I have it up. Yeah, it's gonna be a couple days before they start it. 3 days, 22 hours, 56 minutes. So like 4 days. On the 23rd, they're gonna start the league. So you won't be able to get into the new shit until then. You can still play the old league. But yeah. I'm gonna install probably the day of or the day before. And that's PDT. So, what is the difference? 3 hours difference? So it's gonna be 11 o'clock. No, it's gonna be 1 o'clock. On the 23rd. So it's gonna be like 4 o'clock for us, right? Something like that. So our league doesn't open until like 4 in the afternoon. That sucks. Something like that. But yeah, that shit looks tight. I'm looking forward to playing it. Looks like fun.